A huge tarantula tears the only barrier between him and his victims. Inside, the humans meet it ready to fight. Sheriff and deputy are getting ready to shoot. But suddenly the creature itself is gone, making way for smaller relatives. The monsters run at the humans along the walls, floor, and ceiling. Huge spiders attack the town, and a small handful of people try to survive in the local supermarket. Hi everyone. Today I'm going to tell you about the movie Eight-Legged Freaks. Ufologist Harlan Griffith has his own radio station, where he talks about various mysterious incidents and blames aliens for everything. A truck driver carrying toxic waste listens to him. The driver is driving at night and falls asleep on the road. He takes his eyes off the road, and when he looks forward again, he sees a hare jumping out onto the highway. The driver jerks the steering wheel to avoid hitting it, and one of the barrels goes over the fence and falls into the water. In the pond where the chemical barrel fell, Joshua collects grasshoppers. He feeds them to his spiders, and they begin to grow at an alarming rate. Joshua tells about his discovery to the sheriff's son, Mike Parker, who is fond of spiders and often comes to visit Joshua. While the man and the boy were talking, one of the arthropods escaped, and as soon as Mike left, the spider bit Joshua. For some unbelievable reason, he turned not into Spider-Man, but into a dead man. But not immediately. First, he smashed all the terrariums and hundreds of spiders broke free. About the same time, Chris McCormick comes to town. He left years ago when he found out that his lover, Samantha Parker's husband, was cheating on her. Then he beat her husband, but he never told anyone why. His father was involved in the development of mines, which are quite a lot in the city, and just before he died, he said that he stumbled upon a gold mine, but no one believed him. When Chris arrived, the first thing he did was to visit his Aunt Gladys, who worked for his father. The woman invited Chris to stay with her. Meanwhile, Sheriff Parker and his deputy Pete Willis found a barrel of chemicals and tried to pull it out. Mike caught them in the act. When he learned that the water was contaminated with toxic waste, he rushed to Joshua to warn him, but Sam forbade to communicate with him and took the boy home. On the way, she encountered bikers led by the mayor's stepson Wade. Sam found them and took from them her daughter Natasha Romanoff, that is Ashley, who was sitting on the bike with Brett. Once home, Mike tried to call Joshua, but he didn't pick up because he had become food for his spiders. They'd grown to several times their size after eating human flesh. This evening, Mayor Wade gathered the townspeople at the mall to discuss selling the lots where the abandoned gold mines are located. The people don't want to sell them because it smells of fraud. Chris, who showed up at the meeting, adds fuel to the fire. After a discussion, he and the mayor quarrel and Chris punches him in the face. Sam pretends to arrest him, but then lets him go when Wade is no longer around. Back at home, Pete starts renovations, but his wife complains about the noise and Pete has to stop. At this point, his cat, Ziggy, climbed into a hole in the wall where he encountered one of the overgrown spiders. An epic battle ensued, with the spider and the kitty testing the strength of the drywall. After spending all 9 lives, Ziggy lost the battle with the spider. After this incident, Pete's wife left him and he called Sam to talk. While his mom was distracted, Mike tried to run away, but that's when he saw Chris. Gladys talked him into coming to Sam's house and confessing his feelings to her. When Chris rang the doorbell, Ashley thought it was her boyfriend Brett. Sam didn't let her daughter go right away. First, she handed her a taser and told her to be careful of guys like Brett because they wanted to get into her panties. Chris brought Samantha a bouquet of wildflowers and suggested that they meet for a cup of coffee sometime. Sam agreed. Meanwhile, Mike ran over to Joshua's house and saw that his place was covered in cobwebs. Following the trail of spiders, the boy found part of a spider exoskeleton and then saw a giant arthropod in the mine. Chris rounded up the laborers and came with them to his father's mine. He wants to start looking for the gold he told them about again. On the way back, he met Mike and gave him a ride home. Mike showed him his find and told him about the giant spiders, but Chris didn't believe him. When Chris left, Leon got to work, but the water stopped flowing and he decided to blow out the clog. It turned out that instead of a clog, there were spiders, and he almost swallowed them. Then a giant one appeared and attacked the stunned man. When Mike got home, he told his mother about the huge arthropods, but Sam didn't believe him either. In the evening, the ostriches at the Wade Ostrich Farm started disappearing. The mayor went to check what the hell was going on, but he never realized who was gutting his feathered friends. When Harlan found out that animals were disappearing in their town, he blamed it on aliens. He was very concerned about the ass probes that the aliens might use against him. Harlan promised the radio listeners that he would not allow himself to be probed in that way. That same morning, Ashley hung out with Brett, and he decided to tempt her into intimacy, but Ashley didn't want to give herself to him. When Brett started to insist, she tasered him in the balls and left. At that moment, the overgrown spiders appeared and attacked the young bikers. As they tried to escape, they ran across the highway in front of a gas tanker truck. The spiders pounced on the car, and it crashed into a telephone service line pole. This caused all the phones in town to stop working. Fleeing from the spiders, Brett drove into a mine shaft and blocked the entrance. There was no way back, so he went to look for a way out elsewhere. At this point, Gladys the dog ran to the basement, where he was grabbed by an 8-legged monster. Gladys went to look for him and found herself in the monster's clutches as well. He wrapped a web around her so he could eat her later when her insides had softened. Chris had just gotten home and went to the basement when he heard his aunt's screams. Following her down the shaft, he saw lots of cobwebs and found a spider's paw. Chris realized that Mike was telling him the truth, so he went to the Parkers' house. Seeing Chris's find, Mike examined it and determined the size of the monster, but his mom still refused to believe the stories about spiders, and while they were talking, Ashley stepped out of the shower and ran into one of the monsters. Noticing the young beauty in a towel, the spider reared up and splattered her with something white and sticky. Sam, Mike, and Chris came running to the noise. Ashley was covered in spider webs. Chris tried to fight her off but fell victim to the spider as well. Sam saved everyone by taking a shotgun and shooting the monster. She then contacted Pete and ordered him to get as many guns as he could and drive to her house. Meanwhile, Brett found the spider's nest and saw it sucking out the insides of its victims. Frightened, he drove away from there. The arthropods also got to the local barbershop, and when they saw Pete's police car, they chased after it. Meanwhile, Mike was trying to figure out how to warn the townspeople of the danger. Since the phones didn't work, he decided to notify everyone with the help of Harlan's radio station. Just then, Pete pulled up and brought spiders on his tail. They pounced on the car and attacked the house, had to Parker and Chris urgently run to the car, shooting on the road from the monsters. Arriving at Harlan's trailer, Sam and Chris ran inside. They got the ufologist to turn on the radio station and broadcast an emergency message about the spiders. However, no one took him seriously because Harlan is always telling tall tales about aliens. While Sam was broadcasting to the public about the monsters, one of them got close to the trailer. Sam lastly ordered the townspeople to go to the mall, and then the monster attacked the trailer and all the radio listeners heard Sam, Chris, and Harlan confronting the monster. At the same moment the spiders got to the townspeople, they grabbed them and dragged them to their homes or ate them on the spot. Some of the town's residents escaped and panicked as they arrived at the shopping center where the mayor was having dinner. He rejoiced at the influx of shoppers, but he was not happy for long because people were chased by spiders. The giant that had attacked the trailer toppled over, and at that moment Sam, Harlan, and Chris got out and jumped into the car. Pete sped toward the mall where the carnage was already unfolding. After seeing the spiders, Harlan thought they were aliens taking over the earth, so when Sam gave him a rifle, he got ready to defend his hometown and his anus, where the aliens like to insert their probes. Sam and Pete held the defenses to the last, while Chris closed the metal shutters. The spiders can't get through them, at least not right away. Chris decides to call the military and borrows a cell phone from the mayor, but the connection is poor and he has to climb to the roof. Harlan goes with him. Before leaving, Mike suggests that they spray themselves with perfume, which will help repel the human odor. Sam asks everyone to arm themselves with whatever they find in the supermarket, and the survivors take everything, even pitchforks and crossbows. One dude even took a chainsaw and got a Jason Voorhees costume somewhere. Chris and Harlan weren't doing so well. From there, Chris calls the emergency services, but they don't believe his story about the monsters and hang up on him. While they were fighting the spiders at the risk of their lives, Mayor Wade slipped down the shaft and locked the door behind him. Ashley saw where he went. In the mine, the mayor met with Brett, and then Wade was captured by the spiders. Meanwhile, hordes of these monsters had infiltrated the mall. People began to fight back, but not everyone survived. Sam led the survivors the same way the mayor left. Along the way, she met Chris, who had gotten in through the ventilation system. When they were at the locked door, it was broken off on the other side by Brett on a hoist. He was chased by spiders, but they were quickly outgunned. Once in the maze of underground passages, the men were confused, but Chris knew to go along the cables. They would lead to a generator that stood at the exit. In one of the corridors, people smelled the odor of methane, which accumulates in the underground passages. Then they came to the lair of the main spider, who was guarding her victims wrapped in webs. They found the mayor still alive and freed him. Chris realized that Gladys was also here somewhere. He decided to find her and sent the others to the exit. He asked them to start the generator and smashed a light bulb to create a spark. It would detonate the methane and kill the spiders. Before Sam left, Chris tried to confess his love to her, but she already knew everything. Sam kissed him and then ran away. After finding Gladys and making sure all the other spider victims were dead, Chris put his aunt on Brett's motorcycle and drove off. Before doing so, he noticed a gold vein protruding from the wall. He realized that his father wasn't lying when he talked about gold being found in the mines. Sam and the others climbed out but couldn't start the generator. There was no gasoline. Ashley suggested they use the taser. It had enough charge to light the lights, and Chris's trap worked. The spark ignited Gladys's matches, which he attached to a broken light bulb, and there was an explosion that destroyed the spiders. Chris and Gladys escaped at the last moment. The explosion destroyed not only the spiders, but also the mayor's shopping center, which the mine was close to. At that moment, ambulances, firemen, and police arrived. They listened to Harlan's radio station and believed that an alien invasion had begun. Sam and Chris decided to be together. At the same time, Chris began to extract gold from the blown-up mine, because now he knew for sure that the precious metal was there. That's all for today. Please like and comment if you want more videos like this. Good luck, everybody.